This is Average Joe PT, and today we're going to talk about the hip. And specifically, we're going to talk about a muscle group that seems to be overdiagnosed sometimes. Some confusion that goes on. All right, and so you'll understand what I mean by the end of this episode. But today we're going to talk about the hip. All right, last time we finished up with the ankle, and I said we're going to go on to the hip a little bit unless I get somebody else that wants to talk about something else. I didn't see anything in the comments, so like always, I'm going to keep on giving you the content. All right, I want you to subscribe down below, hit the call bell. Here we go, stay tuned. All right, folks, so we're going to talk about the piriformis muscle that gets overdiagnosed sometimes. And so it sits, I'm going to represent with this rubber band, pretend it's the muscle. It sits on the inside of your tailbone and inside your sacrum here. All right, the tail being down here, it sits on the underside of your sacrum. And then you got one on each side of your leg. And it's the main rotator muscle that allows your leg to rotate out to the side, what we say our major external rotator muscle. And so I got this guy fixed pretty good together, so he's not moving very well. But essentially, it's going to run like this over to your leg, all right, your femur bone, and attach there so that so when it works, it pulls and rotates your leg backwards. And so what happens with it, it can get irritated. Now, right next to it is this giant hole here. Now, this giant hole is where the sciatic nerve runs through. Now, on some people, this piriformis muscle runs below. So just pretend this nerve is coming out. Hi, how you doing there? This is your sciatic nerve. So sometimes it runs below, all right, the nerve that piriformis muscle does. Sometimes that piriformis runs above, all right. So kind of look at it that way a little bit. And then sometimes it splits the nerve, so it runs right through. Those are people that got some problems if that piriformis splitting the actual nerve, all right. And so that's really bad for people. They're probably going to have if that muscle starts to get irritated or contracted, it's going to start squeezing on that sciatic nerve. But if you're having some sciatic nerve issues, it's very easy for this muscle group to get irritated along with it and along any of the muscles that run down into your leg. And so what we want to do is make sure that all your symptoms are really coming from your piriformis and not through your sciatic nerve, or if it's not coming from that L5S1 above, or if it's not coming from I'm going to bring it in real close. This joint right here that I'm kind of running through is called your SI joint. S meaning sacrum and L meaning ilium. In this case, people think your pelvis, but this part is called the ilium, so it's SI joint. So it's really one of those three areas. And so when you're having this quote-unquote piriformis issue. So I'm going to give you some techniques to do to hopefully reduce your symptoms. Overall, we're going to compensate for the lumbar spine as well as reducing some piriformis issue. I'm going to give you some strengthening exercises and some gentle stretches. We're not going to go goo-gaw crazy on stretching this piriformis muscle because that can make it feel good initially, but then flare the thing up, especially after you leave therapy. So stay tuned. I'm going to give you some treatments to do and make sure you're doing the exercises correctly. Here we go. It's all about the treatments. That's what everybody wants to know. All about the treatments, baby. Treatment number one, ice or heat. If you're getting sciatic kind of symptoms down your leg, ice, ice, ice. If you're not, and it seems like your symptoms are only in your butt cheek area, you can do either ice or heat. 15, 20 minutes, 3 or 4 times a day. Just don't burn yourself. All right? Treatment number one. Treatment number two, be very careful on either a lot of massage or tennis ball. I see some people do some sort of rolling on it, like a foam roll. Be mindful. Remember, you have that sciatic nerve coming right out through where that muscle goes above or below. You start rolling on that muscle a lot, you're going to irritate that sciatic nerve. That sciatic nerve does not need compression on it. So, number two, do that foam roll that I will show you, or tennis ball, but be very careful and gentle. Do not be putting pressure through that sciatic nerve. All right. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you those two, as well as I'm going to show you the exercises. So hold on, here we go. All right, folks, I'm back. And guess what? I'm going to show you some exercises that you're supposed to do when you have either back or piriformis issues. Okay, so starting number one, making sure that your back is always supported, whether you're lying on your side, lying on your stomach, or lying on your back. So if you're lying on your side, you want to make sure that you have a pillow, all right, either behind you, or maybe if you have a wall, you can butt right up against the wall so that your back is nice and supported. If you can't, get a pillow behind you and kind of wedge it underneath and over the top so that your hips are pretty supported. All right, let's say that the piriformis is on this side, or the back's bothering you on this side. So what you're going to do is tuck your hips in, keep your feet together, and gently bring your leg open. Now when you do this, a lot of times I tell my patient, put their hands on their hips so the back can't roll. If it rolls back, you're getting all spine movement. Let's isolate the spine from the hip, and that way you just pull that back in, tuck the hips in, open and close. Now your leg won't go up as high if you're having weakness. You know, it's going to go up higher if you got your back involved, of course. But if you take your back out of the equation, all right, and you just come up, hold for a second, and then down. That's a nice external rotator strengthening muscle called the clamshell. The second one, boom, pull yourself straight, tuck the hips in, keep that hand right there. All right, don't let your butt sag. Tuck it in, keep that hand there, and then up, pause, and then back down. That's a nice strengthening exercise. Pause, and then back down. How you know you've done enough? When it kind of feels fatiguey in there. All right, if it feels like, boy, man, it feels like it's tired, you've done enough. All right, muscle failure. You want to go to the point where muscles fails enough. That way you get stronger the next time you do it. Now the last one you're going to do is lying on your stomach. Now, people, take a pillow, put it at your belly button so that when you lie down flat, don't come up on your elbows. Stay down nice and flat, and all you can do is lift that leg up, pause, and then back down. That's a nice one. That's going to hit the back. It's going to hit the glute muscles on the back, as well as stretch the front muscles. So you get a 2-for-1 deal. So, lift up, pause, and then back down. That's 3 different strengthening exercises that you can easily do at home. Now, let's talk about that foam roll, all right, or tennis ball that we got to be careful about. Stay tuned. All right, folks, I'm back. So we got the tennis ball. I got the roller. Now, if you're fancy enough, you got a foam roller, great. If not, use a rolling pin. So let's be careful with both of those because, like I said before, you have that sciatic nerve and you don't want to irritate it. Number 1, tennis ball. Let's say it's the left side. Just come over on it, be sideways. Don't lean into it. This is a no-no. That's a big no-no. But just come over on your, so it's on your left side. Most of your weight's on your right. You're just kind of rolling. Don't land your body weight through it. Kind of shift it around, working through the area that's tight. You might need to straighten your leg out, or you might want to flex your knee up, depending on how you feel with it. And do that for maybe 5-6 minutes, nice and easy. But don't go deep into it, because remember, like I said, that sciatic nerve's there. You just gently roll back and forth. You might even want to get down to the side here, where it could be sore along that side. Now you might also be getting some iliotibial band issues too at the same time. So that's when foam roller comes into play. Or in this case, rolling pin. Just going to come here, just going to gently roll it on over. And you're going to do this for a nice 5-6 minutes. Nice and easy, just rolling it over. Now you'll see some people go gangbusters. They'll go and they'll start to roll on the thing. You know, most of the weights, and this could be a killer one. First of all, it's a hard position to get into if you're in a lot of pain. But some people will use this and kind of roll over. Now, most of your weight has to be through your elbow and through the opposite leg. All right, so a lot of the weight's off of it. Literally, no weight is on that roller right now because all the weight's on I'm doing a side plank. Okay, So this is like an advanced if your hip and your piriformis ain't bothering you too bad. But if it's bothering you a lot, just go back to this position. Just gently kind of roll on it. All right, those are the two that can help you a lot. All right, so you have the manual techniques, you have the strengthening exercises, you have the icing and heat that I talked about earlier. The last one is what we see all the time, the piriformis stretch. This is the one I don't want you going goo-gaga about. I do it simple. Let's say it's the left piriformis. Crossing over the top, spine's completely supported. I'm taking my hands and gently coming across the opposite shoulder. I'm not going crazy because I don't want to get any spinal rotation involved with it. I want the spine to stay on the bed or on the floor in this case, because you might not even tolerate this on the floor. You might have to do these in the bed. That's fine too. Excuse me. And just gently come on over. Hold this position, just a gentle pull. Don't go into the pull. Go to where you first start to feel a pull and then stop and hold it there. And you'll hold that position for 30 seconds to a minute and relax. Don't be doing this figure four nonsense. That's too much stress on the lower back and in the hip too. That's probably going to cause you more pain than anything else. If you're this flexible and it's at the very end, it probably isn't piriformis syndrome anyways. It's probably symptoms coming from your lower spine that I talked about. But that's an easy stretch that you can do. So you got strengthening, you got massage with the different techniques, you have the stretch, and you have the heat and ice. Those are the techniques I would recommend for you for piriformis syndrome. So stay tuned. We'll finish up. Subscribe down below. Subscribe. Hit the call bell. Bring some friends. Have them subscribe. I'm going to keep bringing you more content. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I'll read your guys' comments. So, all right, here we go. All right, so that's all the exercises and manual treatments you should do, at least until you see a therapist. Maybe that'll get your symptoms completely gone. All right. And so, like I always say, subscribe down below. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I'm going to keep bringing you content. I love all my subscribers that are here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up. Leave some comments down below. What do you want me to talk about next? I might talk one more thing about the hip. I might go into some balancing exercises, some more strengthening. I might go dive back into the lower back. All right. So leave me some comments. I'll leave it for a surprise next time. But always look up and keep smiling.